Hello, I'm Jennifer and welcome to my library. Today I bought way too many books. I lost my mind in a thrift store today. I was really excited to go to a thrift store because I wanted to get pants. Primarily, I didn't get any pants. I got way too many books. Let's look at the receipt. I got a pair of shoes, which I really did need. That was $14. And then I got 13 trade paperbacks for $26. I got 4 mass market paperbacks for $4 and 5 hardcovers for $12.50. Oh, hello there, strap. Let's not do that. So I'm going to talk about why I picked the book up, and then I'm going to tell you what it's about from what I can deduce. These are also in no order at all. They are in the order that I took them out of the paper bag that they were put into. So the first book I have is A Zoo in My Luggage by Gerald Durrell. So I picked this book up because I read We Bought a Zoo and I liked it. And I thought it would be interesting to hear another book about somebody who is getting zoo animals. This is like a nonfiction memoir. Let's go into the plot summary. This is a memoir by the naturalist Gerald Durrell, who recounts his expedition to collect animals for his private zoo on the island of Jersey. So he's trying to transport exotic animals. The next book is by Ernest Hemingway. It's called Across the River and Into the Trees. And I'll be honest, I've never heard of this, but I have heard of Ernest Hemingway. I've read a handful of books by Hemingway. Let's see. I've read perhaps more than this, but what I have on my bookshelf is The Sun Also Rises and The Green Hills of Africa. When I was younger, The Green Hills of Africa was one of my favorite books, and I thought The Sun Also Rises was okay. This, evidently, is set in Venice, and it has like the iconic scenery of Venice on the cover. Beautiful cover, by the way. I love the very, very blue teal vibes. I think it's gorgeous. So this is a novel set in post-World War II Venice, following Colonel Richard Cantwell, a World War I veteran, as he embarks on a bittersweet romance with a young Italian countess. Sounds quite interesting, and I hope I like this. I have 2 volumes, Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Rudyard Kipling's short stories. And I think The Jungle Book is the only book that I've read by Rudyard Kipling, but I think short stories are a very good way to get an idea of if you vibe with an author or not, so I'm quite excited to have these. I will say, I also adore the art on these. I think they're really beautiful. This is The Ways of a Mud Dauber, and this is written by George D. Schaefer, a professor of physiology at Stanford University. Looks like this was published by Stanford, and this is about mud daubers, a type of wasp that builds its nests out of mud. It honestly seems so interesting to me. But this is like honestly one of the books that I'm most interested in of this whole collection that I have here today. This just seems really, really niche, really, really interesting. I feel like I could really learn a lot from this obviously about mud daubers. Then we have another strange little book called The Gift of the Deer by Helen Hoover. And then on the cover it says, "A wilderness tale of a deer, his mate, their offspring, and 2 human friends. This is about Helen and Adam Hoover's experience as they start a new life of self-sufficiency, and they are coexisting with wild animals in the wilderness of Minnesota. This just sounds so pleasant and wholesome and beautiful. I hope. That's what I'm hoping for. It also has a little deer family tree on the back, which is so sweet. And then I have The Sea Wolf and Other Stories by Jack London. Just an absolutely beautiful edition. It has a gorgeous cover. This is from 1964. It's just a gorgeous little book. I have a collection of short stories by Jack London already that I have not read yet, but I think this is just gorgeous, and I don't know if I have this Sea Wolf. So this is a tale of survival and struggle aboard a sealing schooner. This year I've been reading a lot more Jack London. I read John Barleycorn, which I really, really enjoyed, and I also read, it's the one about the wolf that is descended from like a wolf and a dog. White Fang. I read White Fang earlier this year as well, and even though I thought it was written so expertly and the story really stuck with me, I just didn't quite enjoy the story. So I didn't give it like a very high rating, but it was really, really well done. Like, I felt a lot of feelings when I was reading it. The Lady Bird Book of Garden Birds. And this is a very small book with a handful of illustrations. Well, there's illustrations on each page of different types of birds. And then there's a little blurb on the opposite side that talks about the bird and what it is. And I think this is just such a cute little reference guide. And yeah, I wanted to show my husband this because he has recently gotten really interested in the birds that are in our backyard. So I thought that would be cool. And also in the past, I had written a short novel where the main character is really interested in birding. And so I thought this would be a really approachable way to access information about birds, because I do have a very large comprehensive birding guide. It just seems like this might be a more approachable way to look at birds. This is another one of those books that I just couldn't pass up. I thought it would really be a shame. I had this fervor when I was at this thrift store that I just can't explain, because so many of these books seemed like wonderful opportunities to get my hands on, and I'm not entirely sure how to explain that feeling, but it was a beautiful feeling, and I'm not upset or disappointed with myself in getting these books at all, even though I don't have any room. I have no room to put them anywhere. I need to get some more bookshelves. This is Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth by R. Buckminster Fuller. Impactful cover art. I think this is a really cool looking book. Buckminster Fuller presents a visionary treatise on the state of our planet and the concept of Earth as a spaceship carrying all of humanity. He advocates for a comprehensive ecological approach to tackle global challenges and foster sustainability for future generations. This is so right up my alley. I love this. I am so excited to read it. Yeah, I love the idea of it. It's beautiful. This book I'm also really excited about. This is The Symbiotic Planet, a new look at evolution by Lynn Margolis. This is a book that challenges traditional Darwinian evolutionary theories and proposes a groundbreaking concept of symbiosis as a driving force in evolution. Margolis presents a compelling argument for the interconnectedness of all life on Earth. This seems like it'll be just a pleasure to read. an informative, wonderful pleasure. Well, looky here. I have another Ernest Hemingway. This is The Old Man and the Sea, which I have never read before. This is a novella that tells the story of Santiago, an aging Cuban fisherman, as he engages in an epic battle with a giant marlin in the Gulf Stream. This sounds so good. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Yeah, I think that just sounds brilliant. And it's a gorgeous little thin hardcover. It looks like such a beautiful book. We come across a book that I have already read. That is This Side of Paradise by F. Scott Fitzgerald. So I read this when I was in college as a digital public domain book, and I didn't purchase it yet because I wasn't 100% sure if like I needed to own it. But seeing it available, yeah, I'll pick it up. I'm gonna own it. This Side of Paradise was a little melancholic. Let's go into the plot summary. This is Fitzgerald's debut novel, and it follows the journey of Amory Blaine, a young man grappling with love, ambition, and the pursuit of happiness in post-World War I America. Through rich characterizations and astute observations, Fitzgerald captures the spirit of the jazz age and the complexities of youth. It is about just like living, young people living during that era. Then I picked up a big one, a big honkin', highly talked about Sticky. It's got a big sticker on the cover that's been peeled off, so it's got some debris on it. But this is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And I feel like I just talked about this book recently. I've never read this. I would love to read this. I wouldn't say that this copy is very beautiful to me. It's kind of, kind of ugly, kind of used, kind of worn, kind of warped. But this is a magical realism, like quintessential book in that genre. That is a multi-generational saga in a fictional town. Evidently, he crafts a rich tapestry of Latin American history, folklore, and human emotions. This book is probably the ugliest book I got today, but I'm excited about it. This is The Wave by Susan Casey. I hate that there's like splattered like food or I don't know, just something kind of gross and chunky on the cover. It's really nasty. And the book itself doesn't look that pretty, but I love the ocean. Like, I love learning about the ocean. And this is an aspect I haven't really thought about that much. The wave. So this is a book all about the wave. So this goes into massive ocean waves, exploring their awe-inspiring power, the mystery of these natural wonders, the scientific research, and the boldness of big wave surfers. So at its heart, I guess, this is an account of humanity and its relationship with the ocean, which sounds wonderful. Aldous Huxley's The Perennial Philosophy. So this is by the author of Brave New World, a book I have not read, but I saw this book, The Doors of Perception, and I was like, that book cover looks so cool, and I always wanted to read it. I never got it. But this kind of seems a little similar, maybe, The Perennial Philosophy. So let's see what the book summary has to say. In this philosophical masterpiece, Huxley explores the common spiritual themes and principles found in various world religions and mystic traditions. He delves into timeless quest for inner meaning and transcendence, offering profound insights into the nature of existence. Well, that seems quite a lot. So we'll see. I'm not sure if I'll enjoy this, but it does seem a bit interesting. Also, it's just a beautiful font. I have been wanting to pick this book up for a while now, and it's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This is a Dover Thrift edition. It says that it's unabridged, so I will trust it, although it seems quite thin to me. I had a copy of Frankenstein, I believe. I might have borrowed it from my sister when I was in high school, and I feel like it was quite a bit thicker than this. I loved Frankenstein. I think Frankenstein is such a sad, moody story, and I've kind of been wanting to reread it, so I'm happy to have this copy now. I am thrilled to have this. This is another Dover Thrift edition. This is H.G. Wells' The Island of Dr. Moreau. I've been wanting to read this book, really, I have. Wells takes readers on a thrilling and unsettling journey to a remote island where the enigmatic Dr. Moreau conducts bizarre and ethically questionable experiments on animals, turning them into grotesque, human-like creatures. This thought-provoking novel explores themes of morality, ethics, and the boundaries of scientific inquiry. That just sounds so good. I've never read this. I'm so excited to read this. I could convince myself to sit down and read this right now. I had to stop myself before I got too deep into the sci-fi section. I went through the nonfiction section, I went through the classic section, and then I was just scooting on over into the science fiction section, and then I was like, I can't get that many more books. It's insane. I've gotten so many already. But I did pick this one up, and I'm so excited about it. This is The Hidden Side of the Moon by Joanna Russ. Look at how beautiful this book is. That font, that illustration, simplicity of it. It's so pretty to me. This is a collection of short stories by the acclaimed feminist science fiction author Joanna Russ. These stories explore diverse themes such as gender, identity, sexuality, and the human condition, inviting readers to question societal norms and explore the complexities of human experience. I have never read this author. I've never heard of this author, but that sounds lovely. It kind of reminds me of the vibe of Daughters of Earth by Judith Merril, which really combines like feminist writing with science fiction, and I loved it. I got another Fitzgerald book. This is Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I have never read this. I would love to read this. This copy of this book also feels really nice. Fitzgerald's novel portrays the tumultuous lives of a group of Americans living in Europe during the Roaring Twenties. Through a richly detailed narrative, he delves into themes of love, ambition, mental illness, and the fleeting nature of happiness. Sounds very classic Fitzgerald. I am excited to read this. Then I got The Hot Zone by Richard Preston, which is about infectious, contagious diseases. This is nonfiction. This is a gripping nonfiction account of viral outbreaks and biohazard incidents, including the Ebola virus. Richard Preston delivers a riveting and informative narrative that explores the harrowing world of deadly infectious diseases and the heroic efforts to contain them. Oh my goodness. I'm not 100% sure if I will like this, but it just seemed quite interesting to me, so I thought I might as well. I think this might have been the first book that I picked up during this crazy excursion. This is The Ice Master, The Doomed 1913 Voyage of Karluk by Jennifer Niven. Jennifer Niven chronicles the ill-fated Arctic expedition of the ship Karluk and its crew in 1913. The gripping true story follows their struggle for survival amidst treacherous conditions, providing a fascinating account of human endurance and the indomitable spirit. I'm quite interested in like exploration accounts. I don't know. I think I'll like this. I think I'll like it. hopefully it's not too sad and gross. I've been watching a lot of Emma's videos, and she really, really likes ice. And I feel like I was inspired by her love of ice to pick this up. And the last book that I have for today is The Post-Carbon Reader, Managing the 21st Century's Sustainability Crisis. This is a collection of essays by leading thinkers and scholars exploring the challenges of climate change, resource depletion, and the need for sustainable living. The book provides valuable insights into the pressing issues of our time and proposes strategies for building a more resilient and environmentally conscious future. I have not made it a secret that I am very interested in permaculture. So I thought this would be a good resource to read and get more knowledgeable about some of these issues. So ultimately, I am just really thrilled to get more environmentally minded books into my life. They're some of my favorite and most cherished books, to be perfectly honest. So that is the thrift store book haul portion of this video. If you've read any of these, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you've read and what you've thought of them. And we're going to move into the specific book recommendation part of the video. If you would like any book recommended to you, just put in the comments any specific book recommendation prompt that you would like, and I will try to get to it. Today I am recommending a book that takes place in a world where the oceans have vanished and society must adapt to a new reality without water. So the first book that I had that came to mind was Dry by Neil Shusterman, I believe. Dry is about some folks who are living in Southern California, and they basically are in a severe drought and they cut off the water supply. So like everyone in LA, everyone in Southern California has no more access to water at all, like coming from the tap. And that was a pretty scary, it's kind of like a fast-paced, not like a very serious read, although it is quite serious, and it's kind of action-y, kind of YA. I think it might be a YA, but that's one that comes to mind. The other option, because it's not like the oceans have dried up in Dry, it's just that they don't have any access to water. But in a world where oceans have vanished, I just finished reading a manga called Children of the Whales. I read the first volume, and I haven't started the second volume yet. But they live on something called the mud whale, which is basically like an island city built on like mud that travels like a ship through these great seas of sand. And there are other islands that they pass, like other ships that they pass, but like to their knowledge they're the only society. That one is pretty interesting. I'm hoping that I get really into it and then I start to really love it, because at this point I'm kind of like, well, this is intriguing, but I do get a little bit confused sometimes. So yeah, I'd recommend Children of the Whale and Dry for that prompt. Well, as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you again soon.